Hi, my name is Jasper Conneway, and I'm recording my code review for three categories. For category one, software design and engineering, we have the code from CS320 project. There are 4 files within the CS320 project to create a contact service full of contacts. We have the contact.java, the contact service.java, the contact test.java, and the contact service test.java. In contact.java, you can see for a contact, we have an ID, first name, last name, phone, and address. There's the constructor that creates the contact with all of these parameters. And we have checks to ensure that the parameters that are inputted are right, and if they're wrong, they throw an exception. Rather than having it all within the constructor, we have methods that will do it for us. So you can see for the first name, last name, phone, and address, and the ID, we cannot be null. And then for the first name and the last name, we cannot be any more than 10. The phone, we have to be 10 digits, and the address cannot be longer than 30. And the ID cannot be null, and it cannot be greater than 10. So we do have input validation, and we do have some comments through here. This could be fixed up a bit. It is kind of junky, but we do show that we have the exception. We have that these are getter methods for each of the parameter, but we could use some comments down here. And then we have a test for contact. So we could use some comments through here. But for the contact test, we are testing to ensure that when we create a new contact, that it in fact created it and that we get each parameter back with the getter methods. So this will assert true if it is able to get these. Oops. And then we test to make sure that we get that exception, that error, whenever something is wrong. So when the ID is too long, the first name's too long, and so on, or if any of them are null, we want to make sure we get that error. And again, I need more comments for that. Then for the contact service, this is where we're going to create an array list of contacts so that we can have more than one contact. And then we have our contact service object. We have our hidden constructors so that nobody can pull with it and create another instance of the contact list because we want a unique instance of it. And it checks to make sure that it's null before it does create the contact. Otherwise, it gets the one that is already created. There are multiple methods within the contact service.java to add a contact, to delete a contact, and to update a contact, and to find a contact. In find contact, we run through the list with a loop until we either find the contact that we were looking for with the ID, or we get to the end and we didn't find it. So if we get to the end and we didn't find the contact, we return null. So we do get good comments through here. Update contact, we'll find the contact using our method. And if it returns null, and we're going to return null, or no, sorry, we're going to add that. We're going to add it, and then return it. Otherwise, if it is there, we'll update it with the parameters using our set methods. And then the delete contact, we're going to find it and delete it, and then return the contact that we deleted or null if we didn't find it. And then add contact, just going to be adding that contact and returning it. We have comments here, so these are pretty good. And then we have contact service test. Now we don't have comments here again, so we could use some, but we're testing each method that is within the contact service to ensure that it is doing what it's supposed to do. So the code for this project, it follows secure coding practices. There is error handling within the code, and it does check the errors that it should, that errors could return. The code is efficient, it's consistent in style, it's consistently formatted. The code you could use more and better documented comments, especially the test classes. Comments are not all consistent and there are some gaps. So for practical enhancements, I plan to insert more comments in the code where it's missing, tidying up some inconsistencies. I will transform these files into Python to ensure best coding practices are followed, and this will support the course outcomes 1 and 2. So for category 2, algorithms and data structures, we'll be following this code for CS300 projects. So the code here is supposed to print a course list from the root node to the end. And it'll do this recursively, and it'll print the courses and its prerequisites. The print course function allows one to find a course with a course number as the parameter. The function prints the course number, title, and any prerequisites it may have. If the course is not found, it is noted to the console. So here we have our print course list. It's going to print every course from the roots. And here we're going to print a course with the given parameter, course number, to find the course that they're looking for. So we recurse using find course. If it is found, it'll be set into our course, local course. Else we'll find if it's empty. If it's not empty, we're going to print that course number, the course title, and then we're going to check for those prerequisites. And then if we don't find it, we print it to the console that it was not found. And then we have a print course that'll go by the node, and we'll recursively go through which node it gave us. If node is not null, we're going to take that current node's course number, course title, and the prerequisites if they are. And then it will just continue going back and forth. But it will recursively call this function. These will check if string 1 or string 2 is bigger. This will help us know if the course is a prerequisite or if it's after. We have merge sort. We have parameter course number 1 and the vector course number 2. we're going to check each course between two vectors using our alphabet smaller function. And if it's, we're just going to run through these. So I could use comments for this. And here's March Schwartz, which will help it recurse. So I noticed there was a lot of missing code within this project. There are no variables or constructors or an iString stream because the courses did come from an Excel sheet, I believe, and I don't have any of that. I believe I had this before. I must have lost the code when I erased my laptop. I do, however, have the pseudocode that I created for the project. Each function follows secure coding practices, and in the pseudocode, I have everything that I'll need to recreate this. There are comments throughout the entire file, and it is clear and efficient, but I do think I could comment or sort it better, probably. So there might need to be some error handling for this. For practical enhancements, I plan to make the code more efficient, creating the necessary components it requires for the pseudocode from the project. The project can be expanded with more complexity by adding additional course information to parse, rather than just parsing by the node or the course number. Testing will be conducted and error handling will be added. The course outcomes the enhancement will support are 3 and 4. So category 3 databases. This will be in Android Studio. Okay. So this will follow CS360 project. The weight tracker application is a mobile application to track one's weight. This can be displayed in Android Studio. The classes within this project employ a login screen to sign up and log into a user account, main activity to allow this user to enter the daily weight. And with each Java file, there is an XML file for it to display a specific screen. So let's actually this back up. So from Android manifest.xml, I didn't have this at first, and this actually caused the emulator not to show the app. Once I added this, you can now see the app. So that was one of the errors that I found. We can see the activity main. This is what it's going to look like. That could be fixed up. We could change how this looks. This is the button that you would click to add weight. We use the grid view. See our login. See, this is our icon. You can click the username and password to log in. You can click, if you enter all of these and the mobile number, you can sign up. We might split that into 2 screens rather than having it clustered into one. We might start off with a login here, sign up here screen if we can, and then continue. So for each of these, we do have comments through them. Let's see, this will get the user ID from the database, and we're going to create the grid, which will go for the main activity that screen that we've seen, and we'll just create it specific to them, and it's going to allow them to get their weight We have our an adding weight button, the plus sign. When you check permissions that they did give permissions for post notifications. Otherwise, it's going to ask them to allow them. So here's our add weight. To register that button, we're going to listen to see if they clicked it. If they clicked it, we're going to have them enter weight, and then we're going to make a new intent to add weight. And we're going to make sure we use their username and their password to make sure it goes in. Here's our push notifications. It's going to push notifications and ensure that they are set. And this is just for the push notifications as well. This is if they deny them. So do have comments here. Maybe some constructive comments maybe. Or, function comments would be good here as well. This is where we're gonna the add user weight. This is our card diagram for the grid that you can see. Yes. Here's our add weight. That's going to have them add the weight whenever they click to add one. We also do have a settings screen. This could also be fixed up a bit. The app itself is kind of, it could definitely do, it's definitely mundane, let me say. But one thing I did notice, even with the activity and the intent filters is what allowed the app to finally appear into the emulator. But now I notice that when you click the app, so now I notice whenever you click the app, it doesn't show up. It doesn't open up. So it'll fall off real quick and then we get this error. com.example.weight tracker, Jasper Conneway keeps stopping. So I will have to see why it is doing that and research that. But so I will resolve this issue with her testing and research. The code is well structured and clearly documented. There are comments, but these could be expanded and made clearer. Variables are properly named and defined. There is no redundancy. Error handling could be improved upon. The app design needs to be more appealing as well. Like I said, it's kind of mundane. For practical enhancements, I will ensure the app displays without errors in the emulator. I will clean up the design and comments. I will incorporate MySQL with the mobile application. I will set up a MySQL database, design a relational database. We'll create a PHP web service and connect to my mobile application to the MySQL database. I will conduct testing to ensure there are no bugs or errors, and these enhancements will support the course outcomes, support, and fun. Okay. I believe that is all for my code review.